You're in tune to DJ Jammers on Bless Radio, UK's #1 station for great music. Don't touch that dial.
Who's heard of Jammers as a first thing? Well, Jammers kick up a storm at the moment. He's been on several radio stations. He's got a serious following on YouTube. He runs the Speakers Club. And also he's got a book out.
Now you're tuned in to DJ Jammers on Bless Radio. 5 till 7 is the Jam Master Show. Every Thursday there good vibes aflow. With etymology to make your brain cells grow.
Words have got many different meanings, alright? I'm going to discuss the meaning that's applied in a certain way that keeps us restricted today.
Great show by Raggedy earlier, and I'd like to big up everybody, all the listeners. We're back big and broad once again. Everybody who's been waiting for us to be back on where we are, we're back on the platform. So big up each and everybody, all the family, all the community. You're live on Bless. Before we start, I'm just going to give you an event for you this week. This week taking place at the Directors Lounge, which is 34 to 38 Evershot Street, King's Cross, London, NW11DA. There's a big party, big party. You can catch me down there with none other than Glamour Kid. So once again, Glamour Kid, we're a celebration party.
Well, this is Glamour Kid, and I want you to know that all the rumors are true.
His new record, All the Rumors Are True. Glamour Kid will be performing this Saturday.
We ain't live. Move up your body like a gymnastic, yow. Chest lift, hand lift. This time to back the physically fit, yow. We ain't live. And in the ear like a damn low.
And it's exclusive once again. Exclusive to Bless. Only station to be playing this right now.
Everybody out the road, them a dance this. Push it up, yeah. Push it up, yeah.
It's time to get fit in the community. Get healthy, eat the right food.
Push it up, yeah.
You can't win a fight or a battle without your health.
Yeah. Push it up, yeah. We ain't live, man. Everybody get wild. Push it up, yeah. Push it up, yeah.
Right, I'm not going to play no more. Once again, Glamour Kid exclusively live hits London Town this Saturday at the Directors Lounge, and it's a party bash, big party bash featuring none other than Glamour Kid, and it's taking place from 10 o'clock till 4 in the morning, all night raving with the man himself, back big and broad. Glamour Kid singing his latest hits and his blast from the past. It's taking place once again at the Directors Lounge this Saturday, and the Directors Lounge is at 34 to 38 Evershot Street, King's Cross, London, NW1 5DA, and I'll be down there, so make sure you come down and join the fun.
Yeah, well, big up DJ Jammers. You're tuned into the Jam Master Show on Bless Radio. Glamour Kid said that. Say, ooh, ooh.
Yeah, I was on actually Galaxy this Monday with Edison, and it was a storm. It was an event called Free Worlds Collide, and it was a live discussion also with DJ Supreme, and the phones were overloading, so it's going to be a fantastic show this Saturday if you want empowerment. And I've got apologies for running late today, but I was unconscious with Stevie Marshall, 4.5 hours, and it's talking about the gun crime, the violence. And this is a topic that we need to address as people. We need to come together. Now you can see there's this assassination. Our youth now are being trained to assassinate each other on a daily basis to fund their business called prison, because prison is a business. And as I found out from the show Unconscious, is that we have a fund that is dedicated to us through the straw man, that when you're born they set up a straw man of you and there's funding allocated to you that because you're unaware of, you do not have access to this funding. So every time someone is born in the community, they set up a business in the person's name, with funds available for you. And if you're not aware of this, they take the money, and everybody who goes to prison, the prison gets £100,000. So every time they can get someone incarcerated, that they get £100,000. So it's by design that our youths have been put into systematically incarcerated. Look at the word pen. Pen is a holding device. Inside the word pen is ink. The ink generates what you think. Every time you write something down on a piece of paper, it's called writing. Writing is you're signing a contract. So you're making a contract every time you write, because if you get something wrong when you write, you get punished. So every time the pen with the ink touches the paper, you're making a contract. And you find out it's a contract because if you don't do what you've written down, you end up punished. So basically, every time you put ink to a paper, you're signing a contract. Contract means counteract. Contra in Latin means against. Act. So you're acting against yourself, and you're acting towards somebody else has commanded you to. Every time ink touches the paper. So when you take your youth to school and they're writing with ink on a paper, they're signing a contract. They're basically signing their life away. A signature is signing your nature. Look at the word signature. You see the first 4 letters of the word signature is sign. The rest of the letters makes nature. You're signing your nature away every time you put a pen to paper, because every time you put a pen to your paper, the ink gets rated by somebody above you. Somebody above you is called a sir. So basically, the ink, a sir, somebody called sir, or a teacher, somebody above you is called a sir, rates it. Every time you put ink to paper, somebody above you called a sir rates you. Ink, sir rated. Incarcerated. The ink, sir rated, you end up incarcerated. Prison by the pen. So what we have to understand now is education is 1 letter short of medication. They're basically putting you in a system to make you weaker, to make you stand under them. That's why it's called understanding, because they're designing a system of servitude. They're designing a system where you have to follow instructions. That's why they call you a minority, because a minority is not color, it's a level of language that you're speaking. They've trained us to speak like children. When you're trained to speak like a child, then you need a parent to come in. When you encounter police, you find out that the words you speak no longer are weak. So you have to get a lawyer to come in to represent you. When you go to a doctor, you have to get a doctor to come and speak for you. Anytime in science, now you have to go to a lecturer to get to the language that they've given you is designed to give you the tongue of a minority. That's why they call you a minority. So basically now here on Bless, we've just come to enlighten you so you can be less addicted to the system and be less tricked by what's going on. So basically we have to now come together. It's the time of us to unite as one family. We have to start seeing the fact that if somebody is sick, we're sick. If our community is poor, we're poor. If your friend is getting killed, we're getting killed as a community. And one thing that they're not saying about this gang-on-gang violence is who's supplying the guns and the drugs. Because a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old or a 13-year-old or a 12-year-old or 18-year-old cannot make guns. They don't have the access to make ammunition. So when these bullets run out, or when your youth comes in and they've got a gun, where does the gun come from? See, the media is tricking you by pointing the finger at gangs and gangs crime, but they can't make the crime or do the killing without the weapon. For instance, the word weapon actually means weapon. So basically it's the device that you use to make somebody weep. Crime comes inside the word crime is the word cry, me cry. So basically crime, the root word of cry is to make somebody cry, me cry. That's where the word crime comes from. The word weep comes from weapon. So basically they're not talking about the guns who makes the guns and who makes the drugs. There's not a media campaign to find out who is the source of the violence, because the source of the violence is the ones who supply the weapons. And they can go and shut down any country in the world, any army in the world. They will go and fight in Afghanistan. They go and fight with America to shut down any country in the world. They've got the power to go and shut down. So how come they can't shut down the guns that are coming into our community? They can shut down Russia. They can locate where a chemical has been used and the source of the chemical, and they will shut down Russia to stop any violence in their community when it comes to people of wealth. But in our community, where they can send a man to the moon, they can find the source of your DNA. They've got the power to search. You're telling me they can't search and find out where the guns and the drugs are being supplied? It's because they are perpetuating this for their business called prison. Because every time one of us goes to prison, it starts off with 100 grand. So any youth listening in, we're being set up. You're being set up to be incarcerated so they can make money off you. Every time you're going against yourself or you're shooting somebody for their postcode, you could be killing your future doctor, your future leader, your future scientist, your future politician. You know, the person who could save us as a community could be at the end of the knife that you're drawing, or at the end of the gun. So now it's the time to stop the gun crime. And I've got to say, it's big request to GANG, who and everybody who was down there on Tuesday, who organised that peaceful protest of positive, protective and proactive action that took place on Tuesday, which if you wasn't aware, it started with a reasoning on Seven Sisters Road on the corner by the tube station. We had man from Brixton, man from Hackney, we had everybody down there in one family. It started off with a reasoning, and first people thought there was going to be violence, or it's violence, but they went out, they reached out to the community, and they marched as one unit down to the house, down to the house of Tanisha, and our commiseration to Tanisha, heartfelt grievances and commiseration to Tanisha's family and everybody, the relatives and everybody. You've got the full support of Bless Radio, you've got full support of the community, and they went down there, they paid respects, they shut down Tottenham High Road, shut down Wood Green, went to Wood Green, shut down Wood Green, went down to Lordship Lane, shut down Lordship Lane, and it was a peaceful process as we have elders and we have youths together in one family, and this is the way forward, this is the way our solution. When we work together as one family and we have the mindset that if somebody is getting beaten, violent or abused, then I'm getting beaten, violent or abused myself. We have to start to move together, to work together.
You're in tune to DJ Jammers on Bless Radio, UK's #1 station for great music. Don't touch that dial.
Melanin is what we call a chemical key to life. The more melanin you have, the more civilized you are. The more melanin you have, the more psychic you are. The more melanin you have, the more information your brain can store. The more melanin you have, the faster the nerve transmissions are. The more melanin you have, the more sound you absorb in your ear, so you hear the full range of sound. No other race can do that. The more melanin you have, the more color you can absorb in your eyes. That's why your eyes are brown. You actually see the full color. You see this color, where white folks see a paler tan, because the more melanin you have, the more you can see what God has meant for you to see. The more melanin you have in your taste buds, the more you can taste the full flavor of the food. No other race can taste an apple like you can, because they can't absorb the full flavor, because you need melanin to absorb the full flavor of food. That's why we combine food differently from other races, because we actually can taste the food. That's because of the high amount of melanin we have, which we sometimes take for granted. Melanin is the chemical key to life. There is nothing else to study in science but melanin.
Until the philosophy which hold one race superior and another inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned. Everywhere is war. It's a war that until they're no longer first class and second class citizens of any nation, until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eyes. Miss a war that until the basic human rights are equally guaranteed to all without regard to race. It is a war that until that day the dream of lasting peace, world citizenship, rule of international morality will remaining but a fleeting illusion to be pursued but never attained. Now everywhere is war, war, and until the ignoble and unhappy regime that hold our brothers in Angola, in Mozambique, South Africa, subhuman bondage have been toppled, totally destroyed. Well, everywhere is war. It's a war. War in the east, war in the west, war up north, war down south, war, rumors of a war.
Yeah, I've been joined by Supreme. We've been on a journey. We'll be saying a lot about that later on. We're going to play one more track inside and then we'll be back after the next track.
Africans will buy it. We find it necessary.
You're in tune to DJ Jammers on Bless Radio, UK's #1 station for great music. Don't touch that dial.
Wanting the style, whoa, juvenile. I'm on your side, and all the hardship you face. Whoa, juvenile, please not get so bold.
That's right, our youth are under assassination, incarcerated, exterminated, eliminated. They've been eliminated from the planet. What are we going to do about it as a community?
Number 2, if you'd like to join in the discussion, is 079 444 31366. Once again, 079 444 31366.
Once again, I said we've got Supreme in the studio. Live here, Supreme. Boom in the house. Special request to each and every one. Bigging up DJ Supreme here. We've been on I thought I was all over the UK, but it seems everywhere I'm going I see you there before me. Old time Supreme.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah, greetings going out to the Bless Radio listeners. I'm hoping that you're in the best of health, and when you're hearing this broadcast, I hope it's reaching you in the best of health, because as you know, you can hear in my voice that I've got the flu.
What? You got the flu? Can you leave the studio right now, brethren?
Yeah. Viral. And Jammers, the meaning of viral, something that is in the air, something that is going around.
I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Viral.
I don't like
it's actually when somebody says something has gone viral in media, something gone viral means it's gone everywhere. It's gone out in the atmosphere. It's everywhere happening. But when you got a cough or something, it's airborne. It's viral. It's in the atmosphere. Yeah. And then you've got as well when you catch something else, they say you can catch it by what it's called bloodborne. Cut yourself and you can get an infection. That's a bloodborne infection. Anyway, I'm not a doctor. Well, I am a doctor, you know. Raggady's laughing. They call me the spin doctor. I like to put a spin on things. And the reason why I put a spin on things is just to look at things from a different perspective. And the reason why I take it and I put it on another perspective is that sometimes we need to look at things 360 degrees. Raggedy, you need to lose weight. You're blocking the light. I can't see. Anyway, you need to look at things 360 degrees sometimes, or in a debate or a reasoning, so that it encourages interaction of reasoning and argument. That's better. Thank you very much, Raggedy. So sometimes, people might be thinking, well, why are you stirring things up? Why do you do what you do? No, because sometimes, you have to look at things not from, can I use the word which I learned this week, paradigm.
Yeah.
Jammers, is that another word you can break down, a paradigm?
Let me start with the word, you said the word viral.
Viral.
Yeah, the V comes from the viper, which symbolises vibration. Then you break it down to the Hebrew, which means to hook. So the V signifies a vibration, the power of a vibration. And the I symbolises the hand. So basically, yes, it means to move against something, as in, and vita, the Latin word vita meaning life, or vitamin meaning life. So every time you survive, every time you see the word vi, it means a movement against something, So it means something in action. So the word live, if you see the word live, you've got the V-E in it, the vehicle, it even makes the sound of movement, of a car, so you see the word vehicle. In the word live, it means an action, it means a movement. So that's basically the breakdown of it. And when you get viral, it's a movement versus ver. So every time you see this V sound, it means to move. But when they class movement as moving against something, where we as a people class moving to move with something. So every time they do something, they see as a fight or a battle. That's why they look at things as objects, because they object to everything that they see. You see, so this is how they see things in a different way to us. They see things in a competitive way, and this behavioural essence of their character is what we are learning. And the thing is that we absorb things. So what we are shown, we do it 10 times more than anybody else. If we're given a medicine, it acts on us 10 times more than anyone else. So if we've been taught violence as entertainment, if we've been given violence in the game, been given violence in the books, we've been given violence in the movies and in the films, and if the people that we look up to are rewarded by the violence that they commit, then this is the product of violence. This is the product of what's been taught. So basically, when our youths are on the street destroying each other at random, it's because this is a behaviour that they've been taught in the schools, in the books. You got the you brought it in the 60-second bit. We're in the books, in the films, in the music, in the fashion, this is, but then the blame comes on gang violence and on gang culture, but they never stop the games, producing the games. They never stop producing the films. They never stop the music from bringing violence. And the perpetrators, just as in paedophilia, are allowed to continue, because it's always the ones who are found watching the literature that are incarcerated, but the ones who are creating the actual event are are allowed to continue. So this is what is a systematic destruction of us as a planet. We are the elders of the new Jews. We are the new Jews that are going around while our young people are being exterminated by the new gas chambers, which is the social media, which is the books, which is the media. That is the new gas chamber that we are living in. As elders, we need to wake up. We are the new Jews living in the gas chamber. Supreme. And Supreme is dumbstruck. But Supreme, I like to say I've got to big up Supreme because we was doing a tour. We was down on Galaxy Monday. Big up Abu Ratata, you know, and the Galaxy family. That was a fabulous show there with Edison as well. That was a fabulous show down there.
Yeah, absolutely fabulous. I just want to go back on something that you said earlier. And you talked about an organisation called GANG, G-A-N-G, the acronym. It stands for Guiding a New Generation.
Well, thank you for that.
That's what it stands for.
What do you know about them?
I actually know a gentleman by the name of Raspet Farbing is involved in it. Mm-hmm. And it's a collective of people. And they do a thing called G-Circle. They used to, I don't know if they still go down Speaker's Corner.
Right, yes, I've seen it.
Yeah, they're down Speaker's Corner as well. If you go on YouTube and tap in content, I think is it Content Over Everything or Guiding a New Generation, G-A-N-G, or even write Guiding a New Generation. It's very interesting because I actually met them and they had a G-Circle in Gambia. And there were people from Bristol, Birmingham, London, different parts of London. We all met up on the beach and they formed a thing called a G-Circle with the local Gambians, young Gambians. Yeah. With the local Gambians out there. Very interesting. So if you get a chance and you want to find out what the G-A-N-G gang, they were there on Tuesday night doing the protest march, not so protest, well, a vigil going down from Seven Sisters, which was labelled as Conscious Corner, down to Park Lane. Yeah.
And what I do, I like to play a little excerpt from the event when they was down there, so you can hear for yourself. This is what we like to.
Steve, let me put this to the boys I'm talking to, because I don't fear nothing but God. You understand? Man them, all of you man them, yeah? We ain't out here like no old man out here. We got aunties out here. Me, I'm a young boy off the streets like you lot. Yeah? I got family like you lot. Let me use you as an example. If you was my brethren and my brother right now, and I heard you got licked down, no one not here knows I know you, fam. You're my people. You get me? We don't know when we leave it who we're looking down, how we're gonna be close, how they're gonna help. Let me tell you, man, something. When you get bored up in your belly, if you've been bored before, no one laid on the floor and said I don't need help. Everybody looked up and said, fucking help me. You understand? Man, them need to stop acting over hard for myself. We got aunties out here that care about you, look. I care about you, look. If no one don't ever tell you, man, that they love you, yeah? I fucking love you. I fucking love you. You understand me? I fucking love you. Yeah, we're gonna show love. No gun ain't gonna beat this love. Trust me. Yeah? Man, I'm trying to walk gun in my face and it's jam. We need you, look. We need one more thing. Hold on, no. It's not a high thing. It's not a high thing. Let me tell you something. When I was young, yeah, man made mistakes. And you see my auntie, my mother, my grandmother, they came at me like, you're gonna be nothing. You see when they told me that? I left the road, I went out the road and I said, blood, my family said I ain't gonna be nothing. So you know what? Burn it. I'm gonna start hurting, man. Yeah? I know you, man, get that from home because they never trust us once we make one mistake. Yeah? Blood, if your family don't forgive you, believe me, whether it's Allah, whether it's Jesus, whatever you fucking believe in, yeah? That man up there will forgive you for anything. Yeah? If you just look alive, if you don't know who killed this girl, even if you're standing there, God will forgive you. You understand? No one here can't wrong you. Once you give it to God, I'm telling you, man, ain't preaching. Yeah, whether it's John, I don't care who it is, everybody knows there's something deep inside them. Carter, I don't want you to die. You're standing there next to your brethren, bruv. If this was a movie where you had special effects, yeah, you would disappear thin there like they do in the movies. You ain't here no more. He ain't here no more. He ain't here no more. We disappeared. Then you got 2 men on the block standing there saying, blood, remember thing. Cuzzy, every man here you see, most of us have lived through that. Every man I mean, most of us have lived through that. Cuzzy, I love fun. I love gyal. I love driving whips. I love driving cars fast. I love living life. I love nice clothes. I'm standing out here cause fam, man can't even live and enjoy shit no more.
Come on, talk it.
Man can't enjoy it no more, fam. Cause we're all bad. Man, them's gonna say that you're governed. Man's gonna say you can't snitch. Let me tell you something. All you, if you got licenses, cut the fuck out ends. For a night or two, you miss so much drama. Come back and you realise you didn't miss shit. Bruv, all you man standing there know that all you ain't boys neither. Yeah, you don't know between you that shit's going on around circles because it happens in every circle. Who's really real to you? Who's really real? Let me tell you something. Everyone here, yeah, is going to be realer to you than your boys on this estate right now. Yeah? Sorry, my brother, I'm going to give this away back to my youngers. Make sure, man, them, be loyal to each other. Don't snake your boy for money. Don't snake your boy for material. Don't snake him. Never let no £1 million, bruv. You know what? Go and get the money together. Don't snake each other, please. Build your business.
Yo, sorry. Have you lot still got your King's Peace Treaty on you?
Yeah.
Whoever's got their King's Peace Treaty, I think you just put it out, please, yeah? Say that, announce that, please, bro.
Yo, whoever's got your King's Peace Treaties, can you bring them out, please?
Yeah?
Touch one! G-Circle! Touch one!
G-Circle!
Touch one!
G-Circle!
Sky News.
Can you please
touch one?
Touch all!
Touch one!
Touch all!
Touch one!
Touch all!
G-Circle!
G-Circle!
Bringing up the gang, GAN, and what does it stand for again, Supreme?
Guiding a new generation.
So this is what's happening on the streets. The youths, we've got some conscious brothers out there who are trying to do their best for the community, and this is what we need to do. We need to get behind people who are actually active, who are actually out there doing their best to try to find solutions to this epidemic that's hitting us as a community.
Well, actually, I was looking, and I was actually down there today. Looking at the tributes and the flowers that are down there. Oh boy, it's so emotional when you go down there. And funny enough, guess who turns up on the scene but doesn't really, was David Lammy. David Lammy was down there with a film crew on Park Lane, not Shalgrove Road where the actual incident happened.
Right.
Doing some filming and some interviews which seemed to be quite hand-picked to me, because he wouldn't come to me and ask me. And my friend runs a business down Park Lane, and basically he wanted to go on camera, and he says, you're not going to like what I'm going to hear, you know. When he told the lady that came and, you know, looks for the interviews, like the researcher, they avoided his shop.
Right.
So he went on the pavement and confronted him, but at that time the film crew had gone. Now, it's a very interesting scenario there today, and I didn't want to dwell on this, but there's this thing with the gangs is very interesting. This area code, this whole foolishness affects the mothers the most to me. The mothers cannot get a flat or a house or a property from the council in certain areas if their son is known to be from another area. So there's effect on the mothers.
Can you say that one? Say that again.
It has effect on the mothers when the mothers are going in to get, let's say when you go for your council flat or your house, and then you get your, what would you call it, your property, and you've accepted it, you then begin to realise that your son has issues with the boys there. I'm going to tell you a scenario exactly what happened today, which I found very interesting, but sad. Down Northumberland Park, they've got the training centre or job or whatever it is, and I was talking to a young adult, who's decided that he wants to get a job. So he's gone in for training. He said he's scared. He says, I don't live around here, but the training centre is there. He said the local boys are looking at him funny. But due to us, or young men of ego, they put on the front, jammers. They put on the front that they're tough, so they're going to try and walk. He's putting on front, but inside I feel that he's frightened. He's frightened because he realised that he's not a troublemaker. He's going to a training course in an area that's out of his manner. You get what? You see what's happening now? So imagine that this area code, what it's done. Imagine you can't shop in another area, you can't drive, you cannot walk. These are the things that the mothers are facing as well. And not possibly the youngsters that do want to turn their life around, jammers. You know, you want to go for a job or get a job and you realise, oh, I've got to go to Tottenham College, but I'm from Hackney. You understand? You see what's going on? So some of them may say, I'm not even going to bother go to college because the courses that I want is run in a different area. There's a lot of complex things going around here. You know what my feeling is? It's got to be a zero tolerance. But before the zero tolerance comes in, because don't quote me verbatim, I think the year was 1999 going into 2000 when we first had the issue with the 4 girls who were going out partying in Birmingham, and they got caught up in the crossfire. Charlene Ellison, Shakespeare, I think their name are. Do you remember them? Yes. The 4 girls, and the 4 girls, I think 2 passed away and 2 survived because there was, drive-by. Now, when that actually happened, that's when I saw a shift. I thought, this is not normal. Well, nothing's normal with a gun, but you don't just drive by and randomly just spray. That is just like, that's foolishness actually. But at the end of the day, 2 people died because of it. And that's when I realised, hey, we got a problem here. We have a problem. When people they're not respecting life, that they can drive in their car and do this, jammers.
And another thing, with so much cameras around nowadays, it's strange that our car can just drive in and drive out, and there's no, there's so much CCTV cameras around nowadays.
There's a lot of things that I think I see, and when you look at it, I nearly call you Brother Dougie, when you look at it, jammers, there has been a breakdown that has not been fixed, and it's elevated to what it is today.
Because a young brother, is it Natural Mystic, when he was unconscious today, he broke it down that we still haven't addressed the effects of the slavery.
Yeah.
The trauma that was been through, it hasn't, even though people say, forget that's in the past.
Is he talking about post-traumatic slave syndrome?
Well, if you want to give it a technical term, it's basic trauma, the trauma that's been involved, and the abuse that is still carried on now.
So, are we attributing the actions of our young girls shooting to slavery?
No, what I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. I'm saying basically it's a false focus, because they're saying black on black violence, they're saying youth crime, but it's a myth, because we're under a criminal state now. We are the product of criminals, hardened criminals that will go and kill and destroy other people and other races, even their own race, without a second thought. But they're looking at us as black on black violence. But if you look at black on black violence, it's totally we're totally disregarded as humans.
Yeah.
Because black on black means a colour with a colour, and violence doesn't mean murder, therefore killing. So it's given low, just by the name black on. It's not called murder.
Yeah, but
it's not called killing. It's called black on black violence. That the violence doesn't mean death. You know, when you look at the statistics, and you see more murders, more killings, more rapes, more abuses committed by the white race.
Yeah, but that's where I was just going to lead to, because cognitive bias, on which we talked about it, if the media goes out there and spread the news first, because remember, the media is the media is the one that paints what's going on, the culture, what's going on. And I'm going to say, remember when they used to have the term yuppie? It starts off, next minute it becomes a word in the dictionary. You get what I mean? They start off a word and everybody's bantering it around. What's this word? Another word that came out and went into the dictionary was selfie. Do you get me? So when the media latches onto something and gets onto something, it's like they name it, they claim it, or they claim it and name it and put it in the dictionary. Next minute it's there. And it's the same with you're saying with the black on black crime.
Yeah, it's military, but it's propaganda. So basically, you created the problem, and you're washing your hands of the problem. So you can always continue to maintain the problem by saying the problem is on the victims.
So are you saying that they've used this word to empower?
They've used the words to take it off themselves. They're not saying white on white violence. They're not saying that who's supplying the guns and the drugs. Let's have big pictures and let's promote where are these guns, and put out a reward for the person who's supplying the ammunition and supplying the guns in our community. They're not saying that. They want to put the problem that we're the problem.
Brother Lyndon Walter said something, and it was always stuck into my mind. Every distraction is an attraction, and an attraction is a distraction. We've been distracted for a reason. Because even as you said that, more time, what do you actually see in the news? Is the news that's bringing us down. But something else is going on in the background. And like you said, to proper criminals, this is petty. That is petty. Most of the crime that's committed by these youngsters is over petty disrespect. Do you understand what I'm saying? Petty disrespect. There is no there's nothing really behind it when we get to it. There's nothing really. It's so petty.
But the thing is, it's been created by society who can spend billions on Brexit, billions sending people to the moon, but no money's put towards developing us as a people, because we're not seen as people anymore. They used to use us in slavery. Now they use us less, so we become useless. And with the machines coming in, it's big business to get us off the planet. Now we are looked on by them as rats and vermin that they want to exterminate from the planet.
We have a voice, though. We have a voice,
Brother Doggy?
No, we have a voice. No, we have a voice.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we have the thing is, the reason why it is because we have the power within us to become self-refined, self-development.
Sometimes I think that the community, I'm going to say the black community, that we sabotage ourselves.
Well, the thing is, they can only operate on a belief. They've given us the belief that we can't look at each other in the face anymore. They've given us the belief that we can't walk into another area anymore. They've given us the fear to carry with us that we are unable to develop as a people. Like, we can't even make toilet paper now.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at most of the other, you go to the sweet shop of any other European race, and it's packed with food and goods for 6 months' supply. You know, we can't even make toilet paper anymore. Because what's happened is our mindset, and this is where slavery comes in, our mind doesn't go back to our motherland anymore. The reason why, because I was talking to a young gentleman older gentleman from the Caribbean restaurant, the reason why they can pack up their local shop full of food is because the money goes back to the motherland. So when they get their money, they bring it back to the motherland, they grow their crops, they grow their things, they're cheap, and then they'll buy one shop. You know, they buy one house. Everybody will live in that one house, and as a family unit, they will develop their community.
There's two things I want to say, right? And we have to master what I call collective buying as a collective, and distributing those two things. Even though I don't like you, you don't like me, at least we put our money in the pot, we buy and we can go to source.
And I think the thing we have to overcome the psychological mindset that's been put on us, that we look at each other. It's still under slave. She said that because the colour of your skin or the hair or the girls that you've got around you or the jewellery or the rap songs that you sing or the area that you're in, that you're an enemy to me.
And a question that I want to put to you: do you think that we've got so caught up in a blame culture that we're not dealing with it?
Well, the thing, we've been tame. You know, we are now domesticated animals. We are now locked up in a belief system that we want to pray to somebody rather than get up your own 2 feet and do it for yourself. You know, we're locked up in a belief system that we now spend all our time consuming what other people have given us to consume. We spend all our time on social media. We spend all our time on the music. It's not like we're not creating our own way of teaching our youths, our own way of policing ourselves, our own way of looking after ourselves, and our own unit. Where if you look at a Polish chemist, a Polish herbalist, everybody will go to the Polish herbalist. You know, we've got, and the funny thing is, as Dr. Abu was saying, this is the time when all our professionals, they disappear. The people who should be ringing in or phoning in, you don't see them. Because they're all being bought and paid by the system. And it's big money business to keep us at this level.
But you know something, we have to really look at this thing, right? Like you said, but we haven't built a structure for those people to come back.
That is the
key. What is it, the for us, by us? You know, so of course if someone's gone to university for X amount of years, or someone's a doctor, they're going to go the corporate route. They're going to go where they're needed. They're going to go where the money is. What we have to realise is that when these people go and they give their time, they come out, they've given up their sweat equity. Some of them are not interested in going back to the community to work for love.
And the big problem to put you in action is that our elders have been bought and sold. They've been bought to get a book and give up the land. So they've all bought into this religion, and they've given up this land for the book. So the problem is all the other races now have the land. They have the plate. Land is power. Land is creation of the food. This is what you need: land to be in a position of an owner.
But it's very interesting because we're talking here, and now we've gone into what I class the blame culture, because now you're talking about religion. Do you know something? And I said something on Galaxy the other day, and a lot of gentlemen rang in, and I said, you never can get a solution if two people are angry. What we get is two emotional people arguing. Before these incidents happen, we should have been sitting around with our think tanks and saying, what's going on? What I see happens is this vicious cycle of, Jammers, you're absolutely right, but I know what I'm going to hear for the next week or so. What is the church doing? What are the politicians doing? It's the police, it's Babylon, it's a system. Because you know why? We need to blame someone to get it off our chest.
Well, the thing is, this is how we've been trained to reason, you see, because when you go to grammar school, you know, the art of being free is to ask questions, to speak, you know, and to understand the language. If you don't do that, if you don't have the facility of communication on lockdown, you don't realise that the first you blame to look at the past, then you say, what are we doing now? And then you move on to what can we do in the future. This is constructive reasoning. But because we haven't been taught to do constructive reasoning, we've been just given explain things. When you explain something, you leave it plain. That's why we come plain, because we haven't been taught the art of how to have a reasonable discussion. We've been taught how to argue. You know, how to, boy, I mean, right, you wrong. You know, we get our backs up, we start screaming and shouting. When if you look at the politicians, where the biggest argument over land, power, war take place, you see it's a structured reasoning system where afterwards they're in the bar having a drink. When we have differences, it's war that goes on from family, generation after generation over one minor disputes. So that's a key element when they took away our language and they broke down a structured communication. Because in the village, you have a dispute, you take it towards the head of the village, and you'll have an organised, structured reasoning, and you can move forward. So that's another element.
But in like what I'm saying, if me and you were business partners, or we're doing any business, we would put in our business, how would we solve a dispute? How would we do it?
Well, the thing is, you can't solve a dispute unless you have common ground. The common ground you have is, if you look at most of the successful people on the planet, are families. They're a family structure where they are working together. So even if they have a dispute, they're still part of the same family.
Well, I'm going to agree to disagree, because there's such a thing as called as arbitration.
What is arbitration?
Is that someone acts as a goalkeeper. Somebody acts as a somebody acts as a noose.
Teach from Melbourne's mum and her daughter lay floral tributes at scene of London M. Heard her. The distraught mum of the innocent gunned down in North London has...
Sorry for that slight intervention.
Arbitration.
Yeah.
So, it's somebody or a body of people that come as the middle person to hear both sides of the argument for it to be settled. Let's say an arbitrator, that's what someone does. He doesn't take one person's side or one person's view. He brings the two together and tries to come to get a solution.
Well, that's our science of the Medinetra, basically.
Yeah.
You know, we need to take matters in our own hands. That's another thing. We have to become our own law and our own function and provide our own codes of practice in the community. Just like this GANG is making a stand.
Guiding a new generation.
Yeah, that's right. But you've got to put yourself forward as an authority. When you put yourself forward, then you can set the agenda. Anybody wants to join what you're doing has to fall under your banner of structured rules, regulations, and organising the dispute. It's the way how even a football team is run. You know, you have a manager, you have the coach, and you have everybody playing their position. But the problem is we're trying to use other people's structures, you know, to solve our own problems. And we have a different dynamic to everybody else, because everybody else has put themselves in a position where they want to maintain control of anything that we do.
So we have this. Let's say, Jammers, we're here now. Let's give out the studio number, and the studio number is 079 444 31366. I'm going to repeat it again. 079 444 31366. Okay. And the reason why I say that, we've got a couple. Thank you very much for those who have sent the missed calls. Now we're opening up the phone line.
Yeah, 0949. If you'd like to call again, you're welcome to call again.
And the reason I want to say is that, yes, me and Jammers are here speaking, and yes, there is a problem in the community. And me and Jammers are talking, and I'm saying, let's now start focusing on positive solutions to the issue that we currently have in Haringey, in the borough. What can we do about what's happening in the past 2 days? What can we implement by the end of the week to say let's do something? Let's now be proactive instead of we seem to be just going around and pointing the finger. That's what I see. I decided, you know what? I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not blaming the system. We know, because pretty enough, when this show is finished, when this let's say in 3 months' time, I even heard that somebody got stabbed today. This will be old news, and people move on. They wake up, they go to sleep, and they wake up and it's another day, and they're just not interested until it happens on their doorstep again. I'm just saying that we have a chance now, or we should look at now, looking at positive solutions. And when I said that, I'm looking at immediate solutions because, you know, we have to look at, is it May the 7th? There's this, what is it, general election or local elections? And we need to start putting forward our issues to be answered and looked at. So I'm saying, you know, we can go around and we can be vigilantes, but then that might in itself cause another argument amongst ourselves, you know. Yes, jammers.
What the reason we come to see the problem is with this can't be just solved in a sentence or a word or one. Because like, there's layers to this, you know. Yeah. There's layers to this, and it's not even a blaming thing. Some people are still, as I said, we live in like we're the next Jews in the concentration camp. Some people are not even unaware; they can't even see what's going on. It takes acts like this from the people's eyes to open. But there are levels to this. There's so much different, like abuse in families, family abuse, child abuse. And there's the thing about even organs, you know, that the system is looking at us as an exclusive product for them to take and use for their own benefit. They want look at the organs. Look, there's the transgender issue. There's so much things going on that it's not one sentence or one action. But what I can say is that these discussions that we're having and the unifying of the stations and the unifying of people like gang is now it's like you need a common enemy. It needs to be. Look at when the gang riots in Tottenham and the gangs got together. You need to see who the real enemy is. Then you can come together as one people and no longer see somebody else who lives in your block or lives across the road. When you can see who the perpetrator is, and you can see that it's us as a family are all being extinct as a race, as a community. When it's like when your back's against the wall, that's the only time you can see who the real enemy is and do action.
I'm just going to put on my spin doctor hat on here, and I said I'll look at it from another perspective. Let's look at the issue with stop and search. Are you for them upping stop and search or not against it?
Well, as I said, to be survive as an animal, every one animal has to be self-sufficient. You know. You have to be. We're supposed to be police. We shouldn't let no other person come in and have the right to come and impose themselves and police us. This is the problem because we give our children to the man who's incarcerated us to educate them. You know, we're giving away our children. We won't even give our shoes or our car to anybody else to borrow. You know, or our wigs or our weave on. We won't let our friends wear them, but we'll give our child away to the perpetrator of our predicament and wonder why the child's coming back with a gun in their hand and drugs in their back pocket. You know, our mindset is like we're mindless at the moment. You know, when we really look what we do with our hair, what we do with our cars, and look what we do with our children, and look surprised when the child comes back, you know, abused, beaten, broken, and confused, and an organised killer. It's us as a person who's allowed that to happen because we've given our child, you know, broken with the religion.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to agree with you. Yeah. Stop and search in the bedroom.
That's right.
That's down to us.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's right.
Stop and search and ask where you going, son? Where you going, my daughter? Yeah.
And that's the thing is we have to have you can do that when things like this happen and you realise that your life is endangered now. You know, your youth going out might not come back again tomorrow. So you've got to impose rules, regulations, codes and procedure as a unit to survive, to make sure that your youth is going to come back at night safe. You know, it's only really at these times when you can actually see what you need to do. You know, because most of the time, Christmas, everybody's on a Christmas tip. Easter, everyone wants to give away Easter. Valentine's, everybody's giving away roses. You know, we're caught up in their games, and the big games are coming on, and the big fashion shows, and the big music events.
Can I ask you another question? When you was at school, yeah? When you was at home, right? I ask this question to everybody out there. When you was at home, were you the same person that you was at home when you went to school with your friends? Did you have the same behaviour that you had in your house in school?
Well, whatever happens in school, the core of your behaviour is driven by your parents or the discipline or lack of discipline that's been instilled with you. Like some people, they go in an environment and they get corrupted or peer pressure. They submit themselves to the environment they're in. If you come from a strong background or a strong home, then you go out there representing the home that you've come from. If you look at the works of like the Rites of Passage, the Father.
Manhood Academy.
Manhood Academy.
Yeah.
Akabalan.
Yeah.
Marcus Garvey.
Yeah.
When you've got a strong foundation and a strong organisation, you go out representing where you've come from. But when you have no guidance, then you go out and follow whoever's out there to follow. And this is what's happened because our families, we're coming from broken homes. You know, you're not going out there representing pride and dignity and want to be like the place you want to get away from where you've come from. Respect. So you don't want to be. You want to be. You want to be someone other than yourself.
I asked a question, and the question was, when you was at home, are you the same person in the classroom at school? Jammers said something that was quite interesting. He said it's a different environment, but you should still be the same person. You got your peers around you now, so what do? You technically have gone from home and transformed into someone else. You could be the class clown. You could be a bully. When you come back home, you're little Johnny. When you go to school, you're Big Johnny.
But the thing, how this came about is because our parents were conned into sending us to this school environment, not aware of the procedure or the process that's been taking place.
At what age did you realise you was conned, Jammers?
I'm saying the parents were conned.
Yeah, but no. Because you're a parent now.
The age you realise you've been conned is when you're in prison.
Yeah.
When you've killed someone.
Yeah.
When you've gone to the doctor and found out that you haven't got anywhere to live. We find out the con when it's virtually too late to change what's going on.
The problem our parents had: gas, light, electric, food. The point I was trying to make is, if we feel so strongly about the system and the schooling system, we shouldn't let our kids go to school. Our children, I should say, go to school. We should be schooling them at home.
Well, the thing about it is, you should let them go to school, but they should be schooled before they go to school to know what to expect, because that's the training ground for life.
Okay, what's the ratio of time that you would have been at school?
No, I was a good.
No, I'm just saying, even now, how many hours would you
spend more time? You have more time away from the house but the
point is, how many hours do you spend at school? Let's say 6 to 7 hours. You come home. It's not much. 7 hours. All right. Not the ones that are in the referral unit and the bad boy there. 7 hours, yeah? Let's say you're in school 7 hours. Yeah? All right, I'll give you an hour off for PE and playtime. 6 hours. 9 till 3. How many hours? 6 hours, yeah? You come home 2 hours, yeah? Let's say 2 hours. Let's say that would be 5, 6. All right, let's say then you spend another 3 hours in your home, then you go to bed. What quality time are you giving to your child?
In between that 3 hours.
In them 3 hours, mummy's coming home, mummy's cooking. If there's other children, what's going on? That's if there's 3 kids. Let's say there's 3 children. Sorry for using the word kids. There's 3 children. What I'm trying to say is, what is the quality time that you're actually giving your child? You know the school, right? I rate them, because now and again they give a thing called homework. You know what homework really is?
School at home.
No. It's quality time for you
And your parents.
and your parent, or your child and you, to get to know, to do the work together. How many times did you go? Sorry, I keep putting you on the spot. I remember talking to my dad. I can't get this maths problem. Bam, bam, bam. Mum, I used to do it, and then after a while, you probably don't. But what I'm saying, as a parent, we should be saying, you know what, Johnny, just come home. Let me spend an hour with him. Quality.
But I think
He realizes there's a bond. The bond is building up even more, my friend.
I think the thing is a con game's been going on.
No, listen to me. Johnny goes to school with his homework, comes back, gets 90%. Mum, guess what? I got 90%. They share that good feel factor together.
But it's gone beyond that now.
So
We're in a state of war, you know. Every time your child looks at the TV, it's being schooled. Every time your child listens to music, he's being schooled. Every time the child opens a game and plays that game, his mind is being contaminated. We're in a critical situation. We're in a life and death situation where you're psychologically being affected by everything that's been put in front of your face. So we have to take a different stance when it comes to taking our youth into a contaminated environment. Our parents have been conned. The children will come home and the homework that you say now is more advanced than the parents know. They'll open the book on. Most parents now, they don't know how to use the internet again.
Yeah.
So when the homework comes in, now the level is beyond what because the parents are caught up in, you know, the rent, paying the rent, you know, putting the clothes on the back. Maybe there's more children to juggle with. Maybe abusive relationship. It's not as straightforward as
family structure.
Anymore. But so it really takes. It's critical from day one. It's critical now. It's not what you see how it used to be before now. Your child now is like a precious. Is worth more than your hairstyle.
Yeah.
It's worth more than your big car. It's worth more than the fashion that you're wearing. Until we see our child is more valuable and investing more value in the child than your hair and your fashion, look at the amount of money that is spent on hair that is sending Pakistanis to school. Our beauty is developing the Pakistani industry. Creating doctors and nurses for the Pakistanis who won't let us work. Sorry if there's any mixed relationship. Who won't let us work in their shops, you know, who don't know about the products that they're selling us. You see, but that money, we won't even put a quarter of that money that you spend on the cigarettes into developing your child.
Well, that's very interesting what you said there.
By packs, I'm not talking about the rest. I'm talking about I'm talking about the pack, the brands.
Okay, but you said Pakistani.
I'm trying to get out of it. Really. That's the problem of being on radio. You know? You can't. But that's basically with other races. We're not looking that when we spend on Adidas, who's the money going to? When we're spending on Gucci, we're supporting some old whatever, you know, Italian or whatever. So until we put the mindset that we're putting our energies into our offspring, our next generation, we are lost.
Okay, studio number 0794443136. This is blessradio.org. Me and Jammers, the etymology man.
I just because I've dug myself in the hole. I dug myself in the hole, so I want to try and get out. When I say Pakistani, I'm just saying what's real. The Jews invest in the Jews. The Chinese invest in the Chinese. You know, the Polish invest in the Polish. The Turkish invest in the Turkish. We invest in everybody else but ourselves. That's what's real. This is why we're in the situation that we're in today. We'll take our hard-earned cash and give it away. You know, we won't develop. As I said, if you can't make your own toilet paper, you're in a serious situation. If you can't make your own shoes, but when you go to somebody who can't even speak English and they've got food for 6 months, you have to wonder what's going on. How do they have shops and they've got 6 months food supply in there. I went into a shop today, and you know what the games the children were playing? How much does a watch cost? How much does a Kit Kat cost? That's their game of so they know how much they're going to sell the product. Our game is we know how much the shoes cost to buy. So their game is how to make money by selling, and our game is how much money can we spend to boast to our friend how much money we've lost. Yeah, man, me lose more money than you. Can look at my car. Yeah, me lose more money than you. Can look at my watch. They're wearing the plain old clothes. And their game is how much money they've got in their bank account. How many houses have they got? We've been tricked, bamboozled, hoodwinked to believe that there's a problem with our youth, black on black violence, when they're the criminals. They're the perpetrators. They're the suppliers of the guns.
The Spin Doctor Supreme. Did you know that Operation Trident was put in because the black community wanted that?
Which black community though?
The black community at the time, in probably, I think, if I'm right, 1993.
The ones that have been hoodwinked, tricked and bamboozled.
No, because
into
I was going to
believing
use the word pandemic, but it's not
into
pandemic.
believing that an ant can solve the problem of a bee.
Yeah, but Jammers, we're dealing with a gun and knife issue here. Yeah, I'm just talking about what, you know, because you said an argument persists of the past, present, was it, and the future.
Exactly. But you have to know what your ability to see what it is. Because when you're on a belief system, you can't see what the problem is, you can't see what the present is, and you can't see the solution. You're closing your eyes and waiting for someone out of the sky to solve your problems for you.
Jammers,
you're spending your money in an environment to sing and dance, but not creating a hospital.
How many people?
Like
how many
Black
people?
Wall Street wasn't created by a belief system. It was created by constructive, positive action. The pyramids wasn't created by a belief system. It was created by a positive, constructive action. We're looking at a book and a man to come out of the sky. This is how we lost our land for this book.
You know something? I want to say something here, and I hope people don't get offended. There's a lot of people that think like you. So why aren't these people coming together if they think like you?
Because a lot of people can think, but action is a different set. And organisation is a different set, because you have to be a master of yourself, and ego comes into it.
So my thing, what I would class as self-sabotage. If a group of people are thinking the same and have the same, as you said, common ground, why is it that you can't have action?
Because are they really thinking the same? Because we're not putting into practice with the template. As I said, Marcus Garvey, that's the template.
Yeah.
You know, Amos Wilson is the template. We don't need to think anymore. We don't look what's happened in the past. We've got the formula, but what it is that we've left our Medinecha behind. We've thrown it in the books. We've left our Marcus Garvey philosophy. We've left the Malcolm X. We've left Martin Luther King alone, and we're taking on their games, their drugs, their methods of entertainment. This is the punishment that we're having for not staying true to our nature.
Okay, so you're now, let's put this in perspective, that's what's bred a generation, let's say call this Generation X. Or I'm going to forget about Generation X. We were Generation X, this is Generation Y. Generation Y. So all what you said is why we've got Generation Y.
So the thing about it is, what's happened now with our youth, they're the ones who can see what the real deal is.
Yeah.
We've gone in there with big dreams, you know. We've not gone on there with belief systems. We've gone there with religion, philosophies, and education. But this is the real deal. What's happening now? They're getting assassinated and been trained to kill each other. That we're the next dodos, we're the next dinosaurs, we're the next extinct species. This is the reality of the game. They are the ones who are showing everybody else what the real deal is. And the real deal is everything is done for us to kill out and exterminate our own self while everybody else watches. The perpetrators watch and make money out of us killing and assassinating ourselves. So this is the real deal, what is happening now. This is the effort, all our work, this is the product of all our work on this system, is our youth are killing and eliminating themselves from the planet.
07 9444 31366. This is a live broadcast. I'm letting people know that it's not recording.
It's not recording, it's live. I better get out of here.
Not unless you're an Android.
You know what? I'm not going to be able to get no food from the local shops anymore. You know that, innit?
Why?
But basically, if you look at the word young, you see the word you in it.
Yeah.
Your youth has shown you what the real deal is, because they're the closest to. They'll tell you about yourself when your friends will. Dad, you smell. Not that my child said that. They are the ones. They telling you about yourself. They are you.
Yeah.
You know, and plus, the only reason why you can be a parent is because they're the ones who are making you the parent. They know how to make you angry. They know how to get what they want from you. The only reason why you're acting in a certain way to put food on the table because they're the motivation and the stimulating principle. You know, if you didn't have no children in a certain way, you just squander your whole life away.
Yeah.
But because you've got a you to bring up, that's what's just like the woman is the one that makes the man be a man. Because without a woman, the man ain't got nothing to do. You know, so the woman is the stimulation and the motivation factor for the man to be a man. Your youth should be the stimulating and motivation of what you need to do next. Because we feel as adults that we know the answers, but if it's not supplying what they need, then we're squandering what's needed to give them.
That's interesting.
Boom.
Shake the room.
Yeah. So I don't know
I'm just looking at this whole thing, and you know, you've brought youth into it, and I look back when I was a youth. If I'd done something wrong, my punishment was, obviously we've got one television in the house, and it's downstairs, and obviously if I do something wrong, I would be told, go to the room, go to your bed. After a little, probably couple of I want to use the word licks.
What you mean, like ice cream? Oh, you mean licks as in the lick?
Yeah.
Right, when you can't sit down for a while.
And we had some parents back in the day that would actually tell the child, pick your choice. Belt, slipper, tree, or if you was really angry, you probably get disciplined with the closest thing. Pot, pan, anything you grab, because you're so annoyed. That's how you discipline your child.
Because I must say one thing in support of religion, in support of the church system.
Yeah.
It was a way that we had spirituality and we was disciplined into right and wrong, and there was active like Martin Luther King, active Christians that went out and marched, took the people out of the church. Wall Street, active Christians that put the money in. But what I'm talking about is that, so there was an element, as you say, of where the parent took control of the discipline and the behaviour of the child in their own hands. What's happened is now is, as I said, we have blindly let out. And another thing is because we've been caught up in this abusive system, that our eyes been taken off the game. The eyes been taken off. We've trusted the government to
Now, I'm just going to say something. If the school ever rang up my dad and said, look, little Johnny's been bad, you know, we're sending him home, come and collect him. Problem that, because he's lost a day's pay. He's come home because you been naughty. You understand? What the point I'm trying to make is that things have changed so much. I brought the scenario of when Back in the day, one television, downstairs, go to your room, get a couple licks, you go to bed. You wake up in the morning, your parent probably tell you off, you go to school, when you come home, but why are you for ram pum 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 pum, yeah? Nowadays, send a child to his bedroom. He's laughing. Bedroom coming like it's the cinema surround sound. Dial-up pizza, internet. It's got all what I call class as luxuries. How do you now how do you put a discipline structure in? Even if it's just simple, you can't.
I like what Stevie Marshall done. I'm conscious, he said he took away the PlayStation for a year.
A year?
A year.
I see a gentleman on YouTube get a hammer, videoed it, and smashed it up in front of his son. Don't you ever bam pam pam. You understand? We gotta start saying what is ways currently now that you can discipline your child in your house, because there's a problem that you cannot discipline your child. Your child now knows its rights. Your child goes to school and learns of other children what they do and what they get away with, and they come home and they try it on.
And well, another dynamic, you see, the problem with another dynamic is the black male and the black woman. You know, this is a product of us not being able to look for the child first, but the man's gone missing, the woman's abusing, being abused. You know, the dynamic of the black male and the black woman as the mother and father, that dynamic, no matter what your situation is, you know, the child is left out of the scene, and this is the product of the mother and father not being able to come together, even if they're not in a relationship, to put the child first beyond anything else. So this is what's come back to bite us as parents. We're looking, it's the guns and the knife. No, it's because us as mothers and fathers are not taking responsibility for what we're bringing into this world. Regardless of our situation, whether we can get
Jammers, I'm just very interested. I'm just having flashbacks of when I was young and what Saturday shopping. What was my job? I push the trolley, I load the trolley, I bag up, I do this. You understand? Go home, you have chores. Can I go and play out, mummy? No. You have to do X, Y, Z, and I'll think about it. Remember what I said? X, Y, Z, and I will think about it. What's going in your mum's mind is, has Johnny been good all week? Does he deserve to go out? Nowadays, I go on the street and I hear youngsters telling their mum to F off.
Even worse than that.
And I turn around and I said to myself, you are lucky to be alive. Because back 30, 40 years ago, a child could not tell the parent to F off.
But you know what I think happened as well?
What?
Basically, because our parents were so hard on us that we gave our children leniency. And that was the downfall of us. Because our parents came over, they had a structure, they showed us right and wrong. With whatever they had, they put family first. They put family first, and they gave us discipline. But we didn't want to put our youngsters through the discipline that we had, not realising this is the key element to keeping us in a functional as a family unit, or to give us skills that we could pass on. Because you look at it's children bringing up children nowadays. Some don't even know
parenting skills.
There's parenting skills that we endured. They don't even know how to deal with their son or their daughter that's being abusive or structure any form of behaviour in their growing up to keep them under their guidance. But it's more like give them this and give them that.
You know, Jammers, you have a very interesting contributor to your show, and I wish he was here. I wish he was here. Is it Shen?
Shen.
Shen.
Yeah.
and he talks about psychology. The thing is that we don't know a lot of things. We don't. These people are using psychology on us. I got to admit, it's only in the last 2 years that I start realising what?
The thing about
the whole thing has been some psychological thing that's been happening with me.
And the thing is, we know a whole lot, but we've dropped our guard just to take up somebody else's guard.
Thank you.
You know, we have a high level, with a higher level intelligence of how to survive. You know?
Jammers, look at this book that I brought in.
I know it looked like you come.
I'm getting like you now. Look, tell them what that.
What Supreme's coming with this book that I can hardly carry. That's with my two hands, called Introduction to Social Psychology. You know. Edited by Miles Houston and the Wolfgang. I don't like that Wolfgang.
We don't want that. I just say we don't like with gangs.
You know, but yeah. So these books, and I worked in certain establishment where they're doing research just on us. You know, that like one of them from. Well, I'm not even going to say where I get. Well, is basically the chances of the success of a Negro movement, and this is done in the 60s, where they actually look at how can blacks empower themselves and revolutionise themselves as a people. So they're already analysing, just like a board of chess, what moves we are going to make. But before we even think about making a move, they've already analysed the move and analysed the counter. One of the, I will bring in excerpts of that maybe on next week's show. You know, one of the excerpts is what they've made about us. One of their analytical deductions that they've made upon us as a people. I'm talking about in the 60s, is that the black man is prejudiced against his own self more than anybody else. You know, so we as a people are more interested in fighting and killing each other than even raising a limp wrist up and giving somebody else a slap. We're more concerned about pulling a gun on our brethren rather than dealing with an enemy that's putting us in this position where we have to kill and murder each other. You know, because the biggest bad man is going to run when he sees the man in blue or when he hears that siren going. You know, the biggest bad man with all the talk and all the jewelry and all the big car is going to run when he hears that siren. You know, he's not going to pull out a gun. Or you know, he's going to prefer to pull out a gun on his family member rather than the person who's committing a crime against him from the outside. You know, because they're operating. It's a fear factor that we're operating in. You know, been systematically been taken out mentally, physically, and spiritually. You know, and it's a constant procedure that is being enacted against us as a people. And as I said, the youth that you're seeing now is showing you the reality of the dream that and the fantasy that we thought we were in when we've come over here to try to incorporate ourselves in this society. The reality is being shown right now is what these people really think about us and what they're prepared to do to eliminate us as a species from the planet Earth as we know it. I mean, all you've got to do is pick up a newspaper. Any newspaper, you already see a successful black man is eliminated from the media that they give us.
Yeah.
There's no successful black man or politician that you see in the media that they give us. So the mindset, or if we look at any story, the mindset of the people in control are not including us in nothing. They're not including us in the EastEnders that we're watching every night. They're not including us in the Crossroads or the Emmerdale Farm or the big budget movies. They're not including us in the newspaper reports of us as successful organisations. Their mindset in every story, you look at all the stories around there, it's always them in front and we are either a runner, an actor, you know, or incarcerated. You know, that's the only time that we come into their mentality or when they can use us to call themselves great, like in a sport.
So what you're saying, we're lacking role models?
No, I'm just saying that...
We're lacking positive images?
No, I'm just saying that if you came from somewhere and maybe you passed out in the roads, yeah? Then you wake up in a room you walk down the stairs and you see the people have got their backs to you and they're on the TV and you're seeing killing, murder and rape on the TV. You'll be wondering, why? What kind of people is this? Every book you look at, you're seeing killing and murder. You know, then you see them playing a game where murder and destruction. You're thinking, well, 1 minute, what about if these people get bored of this? How are they going to entertain themselves next? I'm going to be the next victim. These people are addicted to killing and murder. They play in their games, killing and murder. The one who beats and kills somebody gets trophies. The team that beats somebody gets trophies. Can't you wake up your eye and see these people love killing and murder? I mean, if this was a movie, the black man wouldn't be in the movie. After 10 seconds, the black man would be leaving. But in reality, we want to see who's the next victim, not realising it's us. You know? So this is what we really need to see. What is happening in front of your face is the reality. So all the dreams and the fantasy, now see the reality of the situation, that we're in a war zone where people are moving at us in a military fashion. So every move you make, just like when you're playing chess, has to have some kind of substance to it. We haven't got no time to be playing any games anymore. You know, they're coming to take you out. You know, it's coming to make you a brain numb, coming to take your use out. We are the next generation that they want to exterminate from the planet. Just like, as I said, we are the Jews in the gas chamber, and the gas is the social media, the music, the entertainment, the sports, and the mentality that they're inflicting on us. And now that we are in a position where we're exterminating ourselves from the planet, they want to say that we are the problem. Black on black violence, a colour against a colour, it's not even classed as murder or killing. It's just classed as a behavioural symptom, where the biggest perpetrators of the violence are the ones who supply the guns and the drugs. Oh, you can't make no gun. So where's the guns coming from? Why isn't there attention putting up the people who are supplying the guns and the drugs in our community? Because they want to keep it going for their business called prison. Basically, it's a business that every time they put one of us in prison, they're making huge profits from it. So, yeah, it's been a very interesting week this week, you know, because I was the one who was saying, you know, when you're an electrician, you don't want to do a plumber's job. So when all the gun violence and was coming out, I said, you know, I can't really contribute anything because I'm not one who can put the talk into action. Because that's another problem, as you say. There's a lot of talking going on without any, by people, well, I won't mention certain names, in high positions, who talk but are not prepared to make any action. You know, and they're the people who's getting the attention of the ear. You know, we need to be listening to people like GANG. Can you break down what it means? Oh,
guiding a new generation.
We need to be listening to our youth and seeing what's, not turning a blind eye, and see coming out of the bookie shops. You know, we can calculate who's going to win at the races. We're professors of the character of the jockeys and the horses. You know, but we can't calculate or work out how to make our youth productive and release the greatness that they have in them.
Supreme.
Yes, very interesting. Okay, once again, just give us a one drop, just give us a signal, let us know that you're out there listening to London's Know Thyself Bless Radio. .org. Studio number, as I said, 0794443136. I didn't want to be sounding off in the studio coming we're moaning and
but you made me sound off like
no, but I just said that, you know, sometimes radio to me is actually interesting when people become interactive, even if they've got a sentence to say, even if they're just gonna say hi, you're doing a good job. I love interaction, you know, and we're dealing with a topic that's quite sad, emotional, issues that are going currently in the community, and it's nice that, you know, this broadcast goes local to that community where the issue is, that the local residents and people in the area ring in and voice their opinions. It doesn't have to be a for and against what we're talking about, but it's nice for, you know, someone just to call in and say, you know what, we need this, we need that. You
That's
know,
right. It's all about the community, really. You know what?
Let's put together you know, I would say, I've always used this word, we need a think tank.
Well, I'd just like to say firstly that the only reason why we're having these discussions is because our heartfelt grievances to what is happening to us as a people, and especially it goes out to all the families who are victims of this violence, who are now suffering grief, you know, and traumatized, you know, through all that's happening in our communities, through a concern in our community while we're here talking to you. And I'd just like to big up Abu Ratata Galaxy, also Conscious, SLR, all the radio stations, because this is what we need. We need to be able to communicate with each other from different areas, you know, and that's the problem nowadays, is that because you're in a certain postcode, you can't see that your problem is the same as somebody else in the other postcode. It's only through vehicles like this where we can communicate together and can see that we've got a common problem. We've got a common enemy in certain ways, so that then we can come together and strategize to sort of work together. The first thing we have to do is express feelings. We have to become human again, that when somebody gets killed, son gets killed, that's my son getting killed. When a daughter gets assassinated, that's my daughter gets assassinated. When I see somebody who's unemployed, I'm unemployed. We have to get to that state of mind to start the solution process and back somebody who is taking action, even if you don't think it's perfect action or whatever, from a distance. Even if you don't want to get involved, send some money down or show some support to anybody who is taking affirmative action to address this problem. And unfortunately, I've run out of time. Supreme, fantastic. I'd just like to say once again that this Saturday I'm going to be down there, Evershot Street, Glamour Kid party at the Directors Lounge this Saturday. That's from 10 till 4 p.m. Admission is £20. Once again, Glamour Kid party, Evershot Street. Also, the Speakers Club event will be taking place on the 29th of April at Medical Arts Centre, and also Dougie's event on prostate cancer, Brother Dougie, taking place at Parkview on the 28th. Also a talent show taking place. So if you are talented, also another thing, the school, we're going to be starting the Saturday school where I'll be teaching the Medinecha, and that's from 11 till 6. And that's the 4 teams. So if you'd like to get involved in either sending your young one to school, Saturday school, contact me. Or if you'd like to get involved, if you're a singer, dancer, or even if you want to come on the station and you've got talent to share, contact me on 07497069702. Once again, best to text sometime if you can't get hold of me. It's 07497069702. I'd like to thank everybody for listening, and let's keep it going and develop. Thank you. Supreme, over to you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to be down this weekend, down the Lighthouse where we're going to be here in Edison.
Oh, yes. So how could I forget?
Baruka.
Lighthouse Edison, Muta Baruka.
Dr. Umar Johnson.
Leo Mohammed.
And Leo Mohammed is the MC/host. This is happening at the Lighthouse this weekend, I do believe, in Camberwell. So that's like the highlight to the weekend. And afterwards they can come to that. Is it your party?
Party, a Glamour Kids party afterwards.
It's a Glamour Kids party.
Yeah. Oh. Well, it's not Glamour Kids party, but it's Glamour Kid, and he's been performing his new single. You know.
Oh, okay, what's his new single?
Weightlift.
Okay.
Weightlift. We all need to get more healthy. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, to remember a date not to be missed: the People's Day of Action taking place on the 23rd of April. Monday, the 23rd of April, is the National People's Day of Action in support of Galaxy, the trial of Abu Ratata and the African community. This is another way where we forget about the postcodes. Let's come together where it really matters, in front of the court, and make yourself heard. National Day of Action, which is Monday the 23rd, the trial of Abu Ratata, Galaxy Radio and the African community. Be there at 9 o'clock sharp.
Can I just mention that I did hear, I've got to clarify this. They say that what do you call it? Is it the gallery? I forgot the area you call. Right. Only holds 40 people, but there's people are going to be outside in support.
That's what it's not about. Yeah, it's just about a show of support. Just make sure we're out there. It's a roadblock situation.
This is what I'm just mentioning this, that I've been told that the case may be going over 3 days.
The thing about it is, we just want to be there on the.
Yeah, so I'm just letting people know that.
Yeah. Just stay tuned.
Yeah, anyway, like if it's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. You know, we need the support for the duration as well, because that's a duration.
Yeah. Well, Supreme, I'm going to have to leave you.
Okay.
And I'm just going to leave you. I'd like to thank you. Excellent. Thanks for your contribution, Supreme.
And thanks for the pay packet.
It's coming your way.
Brown envelope.
Respect to everybody. Mantis, every time. I know you've been working extra hard behind the scenes. I've got to big you up as well, and for all the work you do with Glamour Kid as well. Leave you with this. Thank you, Jam Master. Hello, caller? Hello, caller?
Yes, yes.
Caller?
Yes.
Yeah, you're free. We can hear you loud and clear.
Yes. Creases each and every one. Select the one that's right here, right now.
Respect.
But it's not about the messenger, it's not about the message. Love, peace, respect life for the sake of the children.
Respect.
Because if we do not do that, we are all doomed. Yes, doomed to always argue, fuss and fight and kill off each other in acts of war and outer road and around one's world. For example, at home, for those of us who have experienced, for whatever the reason, getting some backside, big flicks with the belt, you know very well, right there and then, you were hoping for a superhero to come help save your skin from getting more sting. And it's lit, tick-tock, from getting roasting. Who in your dreams, in a flash, was bounced into view in front of the mad, dad, God, bad, and say, keep calm. Put down the belt, knife and gun. And don't be cruel, just cool. This is the golden rule. To love peace, respect life. And also, the same thing needs to be happening outer road to help those youths who, for whatever reason, whenever them start to violently disrespect each other, that same superhero needs to flash into them backside skull and say, keep calm. Put down the knife, baseball, bat and gun.
Fantastic.
And don't be cruel, just cool. This is the golden rule. To love peace, respect life of innocent people devout. This is what the youth them need to sing and stop being misled by the bling bling and the criminal lifestyle thing. Sure, serious thing. It's time for the bullets to stop ring. And also, too many people seem to believe that being physically stronger, violently cruel towards children and each other at home, outer road, and around one's world is some sort of sign of superiority. Now, if that was true, then those big, strong, wild animals out on the planet, and not of them would be in positions of governmental power worldwide by now. Imagine that. But what could be wrong about that still when you see them politically motivated baboons going around slapping and kicking up each other in terrorist guerrilla warfare here, there, and everywhere like they just don't care. It's enough to make your backside square. But for those of us who do care, sincere condolences goes out to all victims' families everywhere.
Thank you very much. Can I get your name?
Selector Oneness.
Yes, Selector Oneness.
But it's not about the messenger, it's all about the message.
Okay. I can hear that you're a talented brother. Is it alright if I take your number? Because we do have an event coming up and I like the message.
Yeah, man.
Respect.
Select the one is .info. Yeah,
okay.
Select the one is .info online.
Okay. Selector.
Vibe. Yeah, vibe
Respect.
at select the one is .info.
Okay, my friend.
Yeah.
Bless. Okay, thank you very much. This has been the Original Supreme along. Well, actually, it's the Jam Master Show with DJ Jammers himself, the etymologist, the word Smith, and myself, the Original Supreme, the Spin Doctor. We are now out.
I'd just like to say to you, I think you have to rename you turn me to the Angry Man now.
No. Okay, yes, so messages going out to, and I'm going to say thank you out to that caller, Selector 1, for your message. We're looking forward to linking up with artists such as yourself, and if you're a poet as well, please send your details to this studio number. If you're an artist, if you're a performer, because we're looking tonight to gather artists and get some material, some positive material from the UK to change the paradigm that's out there currently. We're looking for the new wave. Okay, if you want to leave a message, please feel free to leave a message on 07944431366.